Welcome, everyone. This podcast explores various aspects of addiction, potentially focusing on personal stories of recovery, scientific perspectives, societal impacts, or related topics. This podcast often features discussions with experts, individuals in recovery, therapists, and advocates to offer insights and support to those affected by addiction or seeking more information about it. Welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Addiction. I am your host, Al Richards, and today we got a really kick-ass topic for you guys: cultivating a thriving attitude. I'm going to freaking love this show. And our guest today is Matt Gibbons, who's been a good friend of mine for many, many years. I have been blessed to have Matt enter my life because I have watched us both grow immensely since the first day that we met one another. So, Matt, thank you for taking time out of your morning to be on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Oh wow, man, what a privilege and honor for me to be here and share my perspectives with you. And you're right, the growth we've been through has been amazing. I mean, that's kind of what life's all about, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And what's crazy, Matt, is you and I met many years ago through networking, and I got to know, the type of person that you are. And then one day you and I started talking, and I'm going, holy shit, Matt's really freaking stepped up the game, man. He's the way he's speaking, the way he's looking at life. And I really started paying attention to that because I believe we all grow if there's something that we want, right? Whether it's good or bad, those are the type of people that you want to hang with and you want to pay attention to, right? Because they can teach you as well. And you started this journey. I don't know. Maybe we started at the same time. Maybe you was ahead of me, or I was ahead of you. Or but there's some things that you've taught me, quite a bit, even about myself. I still remember this day when we were sitting in a friend's backyard and you said, Al, can I interrupt you for a minute? And I said, yeah, what's up? And you go, do you know how many times you just said the word try in the last 5 minutes? I said, no. And I think you said, I counted 31. I was like, what? In like 5 minutes? And it really got me thinking, why am I using that word? That means I'm not confident enough in my ability because that's why I'm using the word try, right? I've had people say you don't go back and quote Star Wars, but you either do or you don't. Seriously, right? Because it's true.
Facts. You
Yeah.
know, I think words are extremely powerful. In fact, I may have asked you this before. Trivia question. There's only one book in the whole wide world that we all agree on, no matter what language it's printed in. Do you know what it is?
I believe you did ask me, isn't it the dictionary?
The dictionary.
Okay. All
So
right.
let's just say if that's true, a lot of people will, every time I ask this question, they'll say the Bible, the Quran, they'll come up with some stuff, right? Well, it's the dictionary. So if that is a fact, and there's 8 billion people on this planet, and everything is energy, and words have a definition of what we all agree on. So you say a word, that means there's 8 billion people's energy focused on that's what that means. And you're declaring whatever that is. Here's the thing I've learned for me, and the challenge I've seen with others is we use words, we think we know what that means, yet we don't. I'll give you an example here. And this is interesting because this is used in the movies a lot, where, as an example, somebody's walking down the street and they'll say, oh, that person is poor or fat or whatever. And you would tell me that I'm being judgmental, right?
Yes.
Well, if you look up the word in the dictionary, judgmental means a well thought out decision. So that's not an accurate assessment of how I'm behaving. A more accurate assessment of how I would be behaving is I'm being critical of that other person. And there's only one reason why somebody is critical of another, and it's to make ourselves feel better about ourselves.
Yes,
period.
I agree. 100%.
And so kind of a mix of things in that little bit of chat right there. However, words are incredibly powerful. Like affirmations, there's a lot of things in the self-development world, in the the personal growth world of writing out affirmations. And oftentimes people will invest 10 minutes in the morning to write out their affirmations. Well, the true fact of the matter is constantly all day long, you are affirming something. I can't do this. Oh, I'm never going to get that done. I don't have enough money. I'm overweight. The one we were talking about before we went live here is I'm not enough. If that's constantly being affirmed in your world, in your mind, in your heart, in your energy, what do you think you're going to experience?
Yeah.
Because the beautiful thing about life, the power that human beings are, and the connections how connected we are with the universe is results don't lie. And somebody told me this a long time ago, and the way they framed it was life is an inside job. For me, life's an inside game. And based on what's going on with inside me is what I'm experiencing out here.
Yeah. That is 100% true. And I'm so grateful that in the past almost 15 years, a lot of this stuff has come into my life, and I really, well, I'm always going to thank God for it first, because He's the one that put me on that path, right? He's
Mhm.
the one that's put me along that and put the right people in my life for me to start opening my eyes,
Yeah.
to start realizing how much words affect us. And I believe you're the one, and I probably am not saying the title of the book right, but I believe you're the one. I think you even bought me the book and gave it to me. Is it Word I Am Word? Is that the book?
That's one, probably. Yeah, it's one
Okay.
of them.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
and it talks about, like the word sorry. I was even on a class last night that talked about change, right? That they said really change is also not that good of a word to use, because that means I'm not good enough, right? You're supposed to change. So I'm not good enough? Is that what that word is telling me, right?
Think about this, the way my mind works and how I think it now more than ever before is I like to observe, what am I saying? And if my intentions are that, oh, tomorrow, like there's so much stuff out there that is so half truth that most people buy into, oh, that's the truth. One thing is, well, today's today, whatever I can change today will make me better tomorrow. If I'm constantly in the state of needing to change, you said it. It's just another um, result showing me that internally I've bought into the story that I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough. I'm just not enough. In fact, there's a world renowned therapist. Her name is Marissa Peer. And she says that most people's underlying sentence for themselves is, I'm not enough. And you can try that on for yourself, Al. We know each other well enough. I'm certain there's been times in your life where you felt that way, you thought that way, you spoke that way, you saw the world that way, and that's what you experienced.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
all of us have. And the only ones that are really exempt of this went through the trenches of that to finally realize, however, they got taught that, if it was a trauma, external trauma, somebody taught them that, they self impose that by just constantly telling themselves whatever that might be. Once they got to the point to realize, you know what? I'm fucking awesome. I'm amazing. In fact, I like myself. I'm doing the best I can right now. That starts to shift from I'm not enough to I'm enough.
Yeah.
I'm enough.
And that doesn't stop there, right, Matt? If I mean, just ask this question, because I believe there is no finish line when it comes to bettering ourselves. Okay. However, I am enough doesn't really put that stop sign on it, right? Because you can still, as you're growing, it's just like being a little kid, right? We're constantly, remember, going up to the door jam, and our mom or dad would put the little mark, right? And we're constantly growing. So even though you're saying I'm enough, even though you know there's some work that you still need to do, I
Well,
believe that's a good one to use.
um, yeah. Well, to sum up what I think I heard you say, um, life is a flowing liquid experience. The beauty of how we're all made up, we have the same faculties. Whatever I focus on, focus meaning think about, how I choose to look at something, how I'm speaking, how I'm hearing it, is going to pretty much instantly give me that result. And I'm going to share a story here, and I might get a little emotional, but this rocked my world. And truly, I hope whoever's watching this, if you get nothing else out of this show, just grasp this concept. I I know right where I was. I was on 45th South driving, and awareness, Al, to me is everything. Because without awareness, I can't choose different. And I had been practicing being aware of myself, of the observer, what I'm thinking, all the stuff we've been talking about. And I'm driving down the road one mid morning, and I realized I was in the state of frustration. I was upset. I was bothered. Maybe it was about money or work or whatever was going on. But if I was just to define it, I was in the state of frustration. And that's where all my thoughts were going. And I went, hold on, nope. If that's what I'm putting out, something's going to come back to just give me more things to be frustrated about. And I'm like, stop that. So I started using one word affirmations. Basically, I just literally started saying happy. I'm happy. I like myself. I like being happy. I like money. I like having money. I like investing money. I like sharing money. I like being around happy people. I like feeling good. I like being happy. I like feeling good. I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm thankful. I like being thankful. I literally did that for probably an hour as I'm out running around doing my thing. Fast forward to that afternoon, about 4 o'clock, I'm driving up 20th East. You probably know what I'm talking about. Fort Union, 20th East, McDonald's, all that stuff. Busy intersection. And a truck with a whole bunch of things hanging out the back slammed on his brakes. I slammed on my brakes, and I thought, wow. I look in my rearview mirror, and another truck with a whole bunch of stuff barreling down on me slams on his brakes. Doesn't hit me. I don't hit the truck in front of me. And in that moment, I had goosebumps everywhere. And I knew, had I not shifted my state from being frustrated to being thankful, I would have been in a catastrophic car wreck. And if you just remove the emotion and look at it for what it was, I was affirming or asking for frustration. And if I would have been in that state of frustration, getting in a horrific car wreck, going to the hospital, who knows how serious that could have been, the universe would have just said, well, you asked for frustration. Here you go. No car. Now you got a bunch of medical bills. Da, da, da. You're not enough. So you don't have enough money to compensate for all that. So this would keep you right in that state of being frustrated. Had I not shifted within a few hours, I know as sure as I'm sitting here talking to you, I would have been in a horrific car wreck.
I have to agree with you. And I mean, I got goosebumps. Seriously, thank you for sharing that, because it is so flippin' true, right? And I know this because of my own experience as well, right? The old me, at a drop of a hat, man, I, it was dynamite was exploding. And I've gone back and I've connected the dots backwards and looked at my past and go, when this happened and I lost my temper, the avalanche just freaking come roaring down on me, right? It was like one thing after another, after another, after another. When I started basically, I don't know how long ago I finally threw in the towel and told God, okay, take over my life. Cause every time I try to take control of it, all I do is screw it up. Right. I'm just going to let life happen. And I'm going to do everything I can to pay attention to my consciousness and what I'm thinking. And I've had some things happen to me, especially here in the last 6, 7 months or so that just, and one of them really got me down. Right. It took me about a week and a half. The difference here, though, I allowed myself to go through the emotions in a calm way. I
Yeah.
allowed my body to feel what it needed to feel because God gave me these feelings for a purpose. And then one morning I woke up and went, "What a freaking beautiful day. Oh my gosh, my excitement was back, my energy was back." And I believe it's just because I was even telling myself during that time, okay, Al, feel these emotions, but you got to get yourself out of this funk. You got to get yourself out of this funk. You got to get yourself out of this funk. Come on, think positive, think positive, think positive. And it was like someone just turned on a freaking switch. I went to bed feeling like crap, depressed. I woke up 7 hours later feeling like I was on top of the world, like none of that stuff even happened.
So can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I think I heard you say these things happened to you.
Okay, these things
So
happened for
once
me.
so once you were on the other side of that experience, did they happen to you or did they happen for
No,
you?
they happened for me, and thank you for correcting me on that because
Well, I think it's an important
it
seems
is.
significant, but how often do you go through your day and you're hearing somebody say, "Oh, so and so did that to me," or "that happened to me."
Right.
That attitude and I'm going to explain my perspective between about mindset and attitude here in a second, but that attitude is a victim mentality
Yeah, it is.
because it's happening out here and and now I'm a victim. The powerful part is when you can just assess things like the story I just shared and look at it without emotion and just go, whoa, this is holding myself accountable, right? This is where I was. This is what I was focusing on. And that showed up in my life immediately because of that's where I focus. Now you own it. Now you're not a victim.
Correct.
You're what a lot of people will call a creator, and you're creating your reality based on all of these very simple techniques, strategies, whatever you want to call them, that we're all learning as we
Oh yeah.
evolve, right? We didn't get the workbook. Here's how to live your best life. We didn't get it. We didn't come with an instruction manual, right?
Yeah.
And there's some beauty to that. And going back to what we were talking about earlier about, I think there's so many half truths out there. And I bought into it too. Mindset matters, positive or negative. I really, as I'm taking a deep dive into this even further, I don't think it's positive or negative. Positive or negative is a battery, both sides of a battery. What I believe is that you either have an attitude that's thriving, that's optimistic, and that's thankful, or you have an attitude of critical, not good enough, frustrating, unhappy. And it's an attitude. And the cool part about it is we wake up with an attitude every day, and our attitude ebbs and flows all day long. Right. And so, based on our attitude, that's going to determine how I look at something, how I see another person, what I'm hearing, how I'm speaking, how I'm feeling. Ultimately, it's going to determine the things I set in my mind. The things that I've set in my mind because of my attitude, one side or the other, is going to determine my behavior. my actions, my inspired actions, not forced actions. And there's a big thing about take action, right? You got to just go do it and take action. Well, you can do that. That's a forced action. Or if you're in the state of your flow, then you're more inclined that you're taking inspired actions, which we've all been there and done it when we've been in the flow and we're operating on inspiration. All the things we're striving to accomplish just happen like easier than breathing. True?
Yeah, true.
So
Absolutely.
here's a basic example of what I'm talking about. Somebody that is has an attitude that enjoy, like you enjoy working out, you like being healthy, you really, that's your attitude around your health and wellness. It's really, really simple and easy for you to wake up early in the morning, eat good stuff, go to the gym for hours on end, lift weights and exercise. It's easier than breathing for you. Where on the other side, for you to sleep in till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, wake up, eat a bunch of crap, stay up late at night, just endlessly watch TV would drive you crazy because that's more of a forced action than an inspired action. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Well, we all function the same way.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and to even go back, like even with the title about our attitude, right? When we are paying attention to all this, our attitude completely changes. And we can change
Attitude's
that
everything.
attitude as quick as flipping on a light switch.
The moment you become aware of where your attitude's at is the moment you change your whole life,
Hmm.
because your whole life is that very next moment. It's not 5 years from now. What
Yeah.
you experience tomorrow or the next day or the next week is a result of what state you were in right now. And the only way that your state is determined by your attitude. So if you have a lacking critical I'm not enough attitude today, that's where your focus is going to be. That's where your perspective is going to come from. That's how you're going to behave, which is going to result in more and more of those critical people show up in your life. Mean people show up in your life. Maybe you don't get a promotion at work. Maybe you can't pay your bills because you have that attitude that's coming from I'm not enough and it's lacking. You can shift that right now and shift your attitude from lacking to thriving. And your attitude is all determined by what you're telling yourself, how you're seeing something. And even if it's not true today at this moment, if I'm so miserable now and I decided to start affirming I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and I come and tell you, hey Al, I'm happy, I'm happy, and you're looking at me like bullshit. Well, here's the cool part about this. And I actually had this conversation with somebody that's an expert in this field yesterday about, when people start to declare their new way of striving to be like being happy and thriving, and they're coming from the place of struggling and lacking and critical, that's the best place a human can be, because the people on the outside are going to go, what the hell? You're a critical person. Well, that's bullshit, because in that moment, that person is striving to shift from where they are to where they prefer to be.
Oh, heck yeah.
And it's the most important, powerful moment in their life, because the only way you're going to experience something, a thriving world for yourself, is to come from a lacking world and start to affirm that I'm thriving. The difference about it is the results aren't going to show up for me to experience and the world to see for a little bit of time. But I'm never going to get there if I don't start with I'm kicking ass. I am happy. I am thriving. I am winning. I am enjoying my life.
Yeah.
Even if 10 minutes ago I was so desperate I was ready to kill myself. The only thing that's going to ever shift that is someone to go, you know what? This sucks. I would prefer to have a thriving attitude. And I'm going to do everything I can moment to moment to keep my focus on a happy, thriving attitude, because
Yeah.
then it'll start to come around for the rest of the world to see. One of the challenges was when the people that are in their world that are on that same frequency try to drag you back down. You know what happens you know why they don't put a lid on a bucket of crabs, don't you?
Because of the gases, right?
No.
It expands. Why?
When a crab starts to climb out of the
Oh,
bucket,
a crab,
will drag them back down.
a crab. I thought you said crap.
No, crabs.
All right.
The
Yes, I
crab
do
legs that we
know.
love to eat, when they
Yes.
put
Okay.
fishermen
Crab.
that put
Gotcha.
crabs in a bucket, they don't need to put a lid on it, because as soon as one starts to climb out, they'll
Oh,
all
yeah.
drag them back down.
Yeah.
Well, the most valuable thing any human can do is to stay true and loyal to their attitude that they
Mhm.
prefer. And
And
even if it's not your current reality, the only way you're going to get from, let's use money, for example. I don't have enough money. I can't pay my bills. Every time money comes up, I hate talking about it because it makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me angry. It upsets me. The only way you're going to get to money flowing in for you is to change your attitude about it. And then it's going to take a little bit of time for you to align with that different energy. Like I told you about the car wreck thing.
yeah.
It took half a day at least to align with something that was opposite of where I was. And it just takes that consistent attitude of thriving, winning, being happy. And I'm here to tell you, at least for me, maybe you or everyone watching this is different. Their attitude might always be here. Mine goes like this: ping pong. Sometimes it's clear over here.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing I can do: stop and shift my focus to, you know what? I prefer feeling good and being happy and feeling thankful instead of feeling pissed off, frustrated, and upset. That's all anyone can do. And
And oh, go
it's
ahead, Matt.
fitting for what your podcast is called, right? The other side of addiction. Well,
Yeah.
once you go from here, shifting your attitude is going to put you on the other side of that experience, from what you don't prefer to what you do prefer. And the only one that's going to do it is you.
Yeah.
Period.
And you can't fake it either. I mean,
Results
seriously,
don't lie. Now,
your but
results don't lie, dude.
yeah, your body's gonna know. And the reason why I say this is, you know, I mean, Matt, you've seen me at a networking group, right? And I'm not tooting my own horn here. I walk into a room and I just feel so energetic, and people see that,
Yeah.
right? I have people come up to me constantly,
Yeah.
introducing themselves, or if it's people that you and I both know, we're hugging one another, we're talking, energy's really high. And
Right.
when I was going through with my ex-wife's addiction, when it was really in its depth, I would walk into one of these rooms and here I am. I love this place, and I'm going around and it's crazy. I started having people pulling me off to the side, going, "Are you okay? What do you mean I'm okay? Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, life is awesome, right?" And they're like, "No, there's something that's just not fitting. There's something going on." And that's when I was keeping everything a secret, right? I wasn't telling anyone what was going on with my wife at that time, right? And I would leave these networking groups totally exhausted, like I just spent 6 hours at the gym. And I'm going, what the
It's
hell is
hard to
wrong with
it's
me?
hard to fake it, Al.
Because I was faking it, right? I was faking that. And people will feel that energy.
Yep.
People can definitely feel. It's like if you walk into a house where a couple's been arguing and you walk in the house, you can definitely feel the negative energy, right? You don't know what happened, but you know something has happened.
Right.
And to be able to be aware of our thoughts and how we're feeling. I've been in a training this week and we're talking about the brain, and they're going, the brain is the computer. We are the software, right? You can change software, right?
Yeah.
We have been, our software has been programmed from the 3D world, the outside, either through our parents, our friends, associates, business, but whatever it may be, the news, if you're one that frickin' listens to the news, we get all this programming coming into us.
Mhm.
We have to learn how to outwork our brain, because our brain could kick in and start telling you these negative things like what you're saying, right? Talking about. We have to outwork it, and we have to be able to change that attitude. We can change our software. It's like if I plug my vacuum into an outlet that's 25 years old and it wiggles, and every time the cord moves, the vacuum shuts off, then it turns back on, shuts off, turns back on.
Right.
We can change that outlet. It's unplugging our neurons and plugging it into a healthier outlet to where everything's firing the way it's supposed to fire. And like you said, I love you've said this a couple times, Matt. We can't expect results immediately, right? We have to allow this energy, this time to happen. And sometimes things do happen fairly quick.
Yep.
Sometimes, not all the time. Because I've had people tell me, Al, I've done this. Well, how long have you been doing it? Well, I've done it for 2 weeks and there's nothing that's changing. Keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Do not allow yourself to go backwards.
Well, that's another mask though, Al,
Yeah.
because if somebody is shifting their state truly, the results will change. And it might be a couple hours. They will start to shift in a few hours for sure. And if somebody, and like what the example you're talking about, if someone says, I've been focusing on winning for whatever reason, example, whatever, I've been focusing on winning for weeks, yet I'm still losing. Well, guess what? Here is the only thing that matters. Results don't lie. They show you where you are.
Correct.
Period. And you can try to convince yourself, oh, but I'm doing all this work to have a different attitude and a different focus, and why am I still struggling? Well, because you're still focused on struggling. And this has been coming up a lot too, Al, and this is kind of more and more when I talk to people, or I get to coach people, or I get the opportunity to have conversations with people about truly like getting what they want out of life. The number one factor is they're focused on what they don't want, even though
Amen.
even though they think they're focused on what they do want. And I'm going to share a common thing. I think it's an admirable focus and all of that. And so if this offends you or anyone watching this is not the point. However, I'm a big baseball fan, and during baseball, they'll stop the World Series. They'll stop, and everybody stands up with the sign. There's millions of people watching for about a minute. So think of it like this: there's millions of people with this focus, and it has a logo. It has an S, an up arrow to C. Do you know what that means?
Mm-mm.
Well, it means stand up to cancer, and they'll have somebody's name on there. So
Okay.
from my just removing the emotion again and just observing, there's a million people focused on people died, people are struggling, people are dying, people have cancer, people are getting cancer, people are going through cancer. There's millions of people focused on that. With the idea is they're focusing on what they want. I'm pretty sure the world doesn't want any of that shit. So would it be different if those same millions of people for 1 minute focused on longevity, well-being, health, resilience, feeling good, feeling alive, feeling well?
Yeah.
That's what they want.
It's changing the word. Change. Yeah.
Well,
Change.
that's a drastic focus, right?
Yeah.
These people are focused on curing cancer, which means cancer still exists. It means people are struggling, people are dying. What we all truly want is well-being, wellness, thriving, living.
Yeah.
Yet the focus is on what they don't want. Again, the intent is that it's focused on what they do want. And if you Get real with yourself. There's areas in your, that's like the example you just give. They thought they were focused on what they wanted, but their results were what they didn't want, which would just simply say your focus is on still on what you don't want, or you wouldn't be getting it.
Yeah, exactly. And you have said this to me on a couple of our conversations, right? You have pointed that out to me with some of our conversations, and you've gone out, out, shift this, shift it the other way, go the opposite direction. And it gets me thinking, right? It gets me thinking. And I heard somebody say once, I think it was a class or a seminar, I don't remember what it was, that they have people come up to them who I like to use the word fluffy. Okay. These people are fluffy. And they're like, I don't want to be fluffy anymore. Well, you are saying you've got that wrong word, right? Because you're saying, well, you're going to continue to be fluffy instead of going, I want to be thin. You're changing that whole perspective, that whole energy and attitude. And I found that very interesting. It's like when I used to go to AA meetings with my ex-wife, right? Now, AA meetings, this is part of what they do. And guys, I'm not knocking this. This is part
For
of
sure.
the recovery journey, right? Because
Exactly.
I accept whatever works for anybody. So
Exactly.
for all means, I will not knock any of this down. However, I would get frustrated with my ex because she would go up and say, hi, my name's so and so, and I'm an alcoholic. And I remember leaving a meeting once and going, and we're heading home. And I said, why are you labeling yourself? She goes, what do you mean? I says, you haven't drank in 2 months. At that time, it was 2 months that she hadn't drank. So
Mhm.
these past 2 months, you're not an alcoholic. You're not. So why are you going up and saying, hi, I'm so and so, and I'm an alcoholic? And you're putting that label on your head. That's
Well,
telling yourself you're an alcoholic. And it's like my good friend Dave DeRocher. He he brought this out in a show I did with him. He goes, a lot of recovery centers, not all of them, but a lot of them, they tell you you're going to relapse. You will relapse. It's part of the journey. I happen to agree with my buddy Dave because now you're giving that person when they get out and they're going, well, they said this would happen. So you're giving them that excuse, right? So we're not programming our brains right because I really do believe it starts in the brain,
it
and our software is our attitude, right? To start changing things.
uh yes. It's fascinating to me that, whatever when you whatever you put behind the words I am, you are owning it.
And
You
it
are
follows you.
being it. You are being it. You are affirming it. Think of yourself like you're God and you are commanding, I am an alcoholic. Are you not striving to be free of alcohol? Wouldn't it be better to say, I am a non-drinker? Or if you're a smoker, I am going to quit smoking. That will never happen. But if you could affirm and command, I'm a non-smoker, you're highly likely to never smoke ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
And
you're
it is
owning it.
how it's framed. It's how it's worded. It's all of those things. And it goes right back to what I was just telling you is most people think they're focused on what they want when they're really focused and declaring what they don't want. And like your friend that was going, what's going on? Guess what? Results don't lie.
Yep. Yeah.
And the only and here's one thing to affirmations or setting things up. And Neville Goddard is the master of this. This is 100 years old stuff. If you want to create something in your life or you want to shift something in your life, you need to speak of it as if it's past tense. For example, you're not likely wanting to do it like this. Oh, I'm going to lose weight. Guess what? Number one, your brain is designed to keep you safe, period. So if it thinks you're losing something, it's going to hang on for dear life. How many people you see go to the gym every beginning of the year? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose weight. No, they won't, and they probably actually gain weight. It's because of that focus. If they were to shift over and go, wow, I really, and I've done this, Al, by the way, I weigh 200 pounds. I feel great. Even if, so I'll tell you my backstory to this. Practicing this stuff I've learned, thinking of it the way we've been talking about the whole time, I got to the point where I was so frustrated with myself because I was getting close to like 250. And I was like, this is bullshit. Well, I literally wrote on my bathroom mirror precisely how I preferred it to be. And I wrote, I weigh 200 pounds, comma, I feel amazing. Not, I'm going to weigh 200 pounds. And when I finally get there, I will feel great. That's
Yeah.
not how you do it. Al, talk about inspired actions. Over the next 3 weeks, my inspired actions were I still went out wherever everybody went to lunch. I would order a hamburger or whatever. They would say, you want fries? Nope. Do you want a soda? I didn't drink sodas anyway, so that was easy. I just want water. But the moral to that part of the story was I really wasn't forcing myself to go, oh, I can't, Al, I can't have that. I can't have French fries today. Oh, I can't have a turnover to go with it. Oh, I can't have a shake. I just can't do that. I was more on the side of, I'll just have, how about, I'll have a half a sandwich. That's plenty for me. And I felt fulfilled the whole time. I was never hungry. And you want to know, in 3 weeks, I went from 245, 50 pounds to 215. I didn't go to the gym one time. That attitude of focusing on where I wanted to be as if I was already there inspired me to take those actions to get that result.
Yeah.
Versus in the fitness realm, which you know all about, most people are go, okay, I'm going to go, and they're going to go to the gym. They're going to kill themselves. They're going to eat shit they don't like to eat, drink shit they don't like to drink. And 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, months later, nothing's changed because they're in the attitude of they're losing something. They got to change something.
Yeah. Back to that word change, right?
You want to shift your whole world? Be it. We're human beings, not human doings. So you want to be happy? Be happy. Speak as if you're already happy. Speak as if you're already thriving. Speak as if you're already in a relationship, in the love of your life. We had a young lady come to one of our events at the chamber, and the one thing she got out of it was putting yourself in the state of the wish already fulfilled. And her one desire was to be in a loving relationship. She's a single mom, da 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 da. Somebody that works with her 2 months later told me that she was in this incredible relationship with the guy of her dreams. And the crazy thing is, he had been there all along, but until she put herself in the state of being in that relationship and using all of our faculties, imagining it, feeling it, talking about it, even if it's in the mirror, just being in that relationship before it actually manifested, it literally took, I think she told me, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And something she'd been striving to create in her life for 5 years, Al. It goes back to, Al, I'm doing all the things that you told me to do that I need to do, but I can't find someone that's worth a shit to be in a relationship with. I keep attracting these assholes.
Yeah.
Results don't lie.
Exactly. Exactly. You will continue to fall back into that same thing. I mean, seriously, you will.
Until you change the way you verbalize it, affirm it,
Hmm.
and think from it, you'll always fall back to what you've been programmed with. So the way out of that is to think of the things as in past tense,
Yeah.
right? So like, oh, Al, I'm lean and fit and I weigh 200 pounds. And you'd look at me in person and go, What the hell are you looking at? What mirror are you looking in? You're full of shit.
I want to look in your mirror.
Right? Where's that mirror? But the only way I would get there, I can't get there if I don't start with that first.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm very clear on what I prefer or what I want or what my desire is. Now I have to put myself in the state of that wish fulfilled and speak that way, see it that way, hear it that way, talk about it that way until, and then follow those inspired actions that are going to lead you to that experience or manifestation.
So let me ask you this, and I've got a little story behind it. What are your thoughts about the visual, right? To help kind of help you get to that. And the reason why I'm asking this,
Yep.
when I
Perfect.
lost my job almost 15 years ago, I thought I looked great. I was one who always took pride in the way I looked, right? Now, I
Yep.
spent 8 years of partying my ass off every Friday and Saturday night. I still looked in the mirror and I went, my gosh, I looked great. When I saw my wedding pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, I look like that. I had a double chin. I weighed 198 pounds. I've never weighed over 180 my whole life, ever. Now here I am, 198 pounds, 2 pounds away from 200. When I lost my job, I didn't know which direction to go. I found out with help of people that knew me, I wasn't the person who I thought I was. I did not want to be that person anymore. For me, where to start was to what I know is to get back into fitness. That's the only thing
That's
my
your out.
brain said, go to, right? So I went back and I found my pictures of back when I was in my mid 30s of when I was competing. And I would look at those pictures every day and go, this is what I look like. This is what I look like. And
So
before I knew it, I was down to 174 pounds. I got to where I started going to the gym. I look better now at age 60 than I did in my mid 40s by far. And it's still that same attitude, right? That I'm seeing myself already there is what you've been talking about.
So if I'm hearing what your question was, this is a multi-legged answer, but it sounds like you used what you didn't like as motivation to get to what you preferred or what you liked. You saw a picture of
Some of
you
that,
with the
yes.
double chin, and you're like, screw that. I'm going to go bust my ass at the gym and get to where I want to be. I don't know if this was your experience or
Yes.
just like,
So it
so
was both
fill in the
parts.
blanks. So what I've learned, I'm going to use a golf example in a minute, but, and you, because this will make sense. So here's the thing. You told me before the show that you're taking some training on our brain and our mind. Our mind thinks in pictures. So if you're not a visual person, this is how, because there's a lot of stuff out there. You visualize the end result. Put yourself in the state of that wish fulfilled and visually do that. Some people that's very hard for. So, however, the way our minds work is we think in pictures, not words. If I say, Al, think of car, CAR. You don't think of CAR, you think of a couple things. You're either thinking of the car you want, one that you have an attachment to, an emotional attachment to, or the one you have right now. Accurate?
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I'm affirming lean and fit, I'm lean and fit, I'm lean and fit, I'm lean and fit, and I do that for 100 times, pretty soon, how I prefer to see it's going to pop into my mind. And I'm going to see it from that perspective, which is going to give me inspired actions to get to that visual that I created in my mind. And likely you'll get there and look back and go, how did that happen? So I'll give you a golf example, and this has been over probably 10 years ish. Um, I'm 55 years old. I currently, I when I play golf with guys, I'm probably outdrive pretty much everybody, even kids that are in their 20s and 30s that are way bigger, stronger than me. And in fact, last weekend at a big tournament, some of the guys we were playing with are like, how do you do that? It just doesn't compute for them. And I'm sitting here going, I couldn't tell you. However, a long time ago, when I decided I wanted to be a better golfer and get better, I was using one word affirmations. And I asked myself, what do I want to do? Well, I want to hit the ball long. I want to hit the ball straight, and I want to be accurate. Literally, when I was at the driving range and my ball's doing this, I would be saying my focus would be on long, straight, accurate. And I bet you I said that a million times, Al. And it's still to this day transitioned in my result. Did it happen overnight? No. And there's still times that I still have to focus. In fact, there was at one point I was telling myself, I hit the ball 400 yards. I hit the ball 400 yards. I hit the ball 400 yards. I've only done that a couple times, which is, you play golf, you realize, you know how far that is.
Yeah.
I hit balls with long drive guys that are long drive guys, and they hit it past me by a mile. And there are some times where I've hit it with them and past them. And the only way that happens, you can do what most the world's telling you if you play golf. Oh, you need to hire a coach. You got to do all these things. You got to make sure your grip's all this way. And you got to do all this. That's all bullshit. If you have the technique and know how to hit a golf ball and you've got a decent swing, it's as simple as deciding what you want, keep your head down, watch the ball, and follow through. That's it. And I summarize golf like life. You're never going to play the same shot ever. Even if you play the same golf course every day, you'll never have the same shot. You'll never have the same lie. And likely it's going to be different. It's just like life.
Yeah.
And it shows you where you are immediately. If you're playing golf and you're in your head about work or something else, I don't care how good you are not going to play your best golf. When you're calm and clear and happy, for lack of, for lack of better words, you're going to play awesome. You'll play your best or better than you normally do.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
no different than
true.
life. It's no different than business, in relationships, in life.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And going back to this golf years ago, when I lived in Kentucky, I worked my butt off for a year and a half. Once everything started going good, all the mechanics was trained. I mean, I was at the golf course pretty much every day, right? I was down to about a 2 handicap because I was playing constantly. I
Yep.
played 18 to 36 holes every weekend.
Right.
And I got to where my ego started kicking in, right? So I'm dating this girl, and we go out there and we're playing in Franklin, Kentucky. Kenny Perry, who is a professional golfer, it's his course, and awesome course to play, a lot of fun. And I'm really struggling that day, and I'm getting pissed, right? And I remember as we was making the turn from 9 to 10, she goes, "Take me back to the truck." I'm like, "Why? We got another nine to play." And she goes, "When I first started coming golfing with you, you used to come out here and have fun. Now all you do is bitch and moan about every damn shot that you take, that you didn't do this right or you didn't do that right." And she goes, "And I'm sick of hearing it." She frickin' she kicked me in the crotch that day, right? It opened my mind, and I'm going, "Oh my gosh, she's so right." So I went,
I've
"Okay,
watched that happen more times than you can imagine, where attitude's everything. The
yeah,
conversation about this show is getting your attitude where you want it to be. Attitude is
Yeah,
everything. And on the golf course, I've seen this 1,000 times. If somebody's in a good attitude and they're doing good, it's going to bring up the others if they're struggling and having a bad attitude. And if as long as they're consistent and they're loyal to that attitude.
yeah.
I've also seen where this is in matches, there's money on the line. These guys are playing, and one of the players is just being a dick. Their partner on their team, who is, I watched this person was a 4 handicap. It was a girl. She hit the ball 280 yards and never missed. Her partner was being a little dick, and her game went like that in a matter of holes. So the moral to the story is you got to keep your attitude in check and do everything you can not to let the environment around you determine your attitude.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're jumping in that toxic pool with them. You're going back into the crab bowl.
Oh, absolutely. And that's kind of like where I was going with what you
And
just said.
that's what she did. She said, "Guess what? I'm getting out of the crab bucket.
Yeah.
You can go play. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not exposing myself to your shitty attitude."
Yep. And it helped me. It took me a couple holes. I still played somewhat decent, but not as good. And then all of a sudden it was like it came from nowhere. I started hitting the ball straight again. My accuracy was much better. I mean, my chipping, holy crap, my chipping was just amazing that day, right? And the last couple years, and this is so sad, it breaks my heart because I love this game just as much as you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I only made it out twice last year, and the year before I only made it out twice. Now, a lot of that is because I've got a lot going on, and I've got things that I'm working on to me that's more important than going out and playing golf
Right.
right now for me. And I remember the last few times I went with our friend TJ,
Yeah.
TJ Menlove, and he invites me out. And the first couple holes, man, it's like I have picked up the club for the very first time in my life. And I'm going, this feels so weird. Even my swing felt awkward. It's like this just doesn't feel right, you know? And TJ, he's joking with me like TJ does. He's having fun. And he goes, just kind of chill, relax, man. And I'm like, you know what? I'm okay because I'm outside. It's a freaking gorgeous day. I could be working and I'm not. I love being here, right? If I play like shit the rest of the day, oh well, because I'm here. I've got good friends who are with me. We're all laughing, we're joking. And about the fourth hole, all of a sudden everything started coming back. I started pounding my drives down the middle again. I started hitting the greens on my second shot. My putting was good. Again, it goes back to that attitude. Instead of getting frustrated, letting my ego kick in and letting my subconscious come and go, well, when this happens, this is how you act. This is how you've acted in the past. I just chilled and I enjoyed the rest of the day and it came back to me.
Isn't it amazing how powerful we all are, how connected to the universe or God or whatever you want it, to the degree that we cause our reality, and
Yeah.
how fast it can go from chaos to paradise. We've talked a few different examples today where it did happen in the same day. In fact, it happened in a few hours where it went from shit to shine fairly quickly. And the only thing that determined that was our attitude.
Yep.
And it's, to me, life's a simple game. Life's an inside game. And it's really about what we focus on and where's our attitude, because our attitude determines everything else.
Yeah. I, I
And
got a I got a question for you, Matt, and I'm pretty sure I already know your answer to this. I was speaking with somebody who I'm very close to, probably a couple months ago, and listening to their attitude, right? They're just going on and on and on. It was just complain this, complain that, complain this, complain, and literally I was getting irritated, right? Because that's not where I want to be by. I don't want to hear that. And I said something, and this is what I was told. This is how I've been all my life. It's too late for me now because I'm such and such age. And I was like, seriously?
Well, you're exposing something that's extremely powerful. Um, Number one, you can't force that person to change anything.
True.
You're for me, I'm at choice to determine, do I want to be in this environment? Goes back to, am I gonna allow their attitude to affect my attitude? That's the number one question. And if you're not strong enough to not allow them to affect your attitude, your best and wisest choice is to leave.
Mhm.
Period. Here's what's extremely powerful that we all could do. A person like that, there's only one thing I could do. I can choose to see them how I prefer them to be. I'm going to use you as Al's being a negative, complaining asshole. He's so engraved in his shitty attitude. I can go, you know what? I really like seeing Al at peace and calm and happy. I like hearing him start to have a thriving attitude. Man, it really makes me happy seeing Al in a good mood, in an optimistic mood. That's all you could do, Al. Now, is that going to totally trump their choices? Never. However, it will benefit them from your focus. In fact, and I'm going to challenge you to invest some energy and apply this with that person. And I will bet you anything. Their behavior, their attitude, their state will change when you're around to more of how you're seeing them versus how they're being. They might be that person with everybody else, but when you're there, their whole attitude will change. And that's, in the way I look at it, that's the power we have to lift somebody else up. They don't even know what we're doing.
That's
I've
that
done it before.
visible energy, right?
Here's the deal. I am the source of my entire world. End of story.
Yeah.
Whatever I experience, I attracted to me. I drew to me. However, I'm seeing it is how it's showing up. If I want to see something different, I've got to change how I look at it. That's famous. When you want to change how you experience something, you need to change how you look at it and how you see it. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's Wayne Dyer. When you change your attitude about how you see things, your experience will change.
Yeah. And see, here we go back to like at the beginning of the show where we was talking about the word change, right? It's to me, it's almost like the word but, because I could say, Matt, I love you, but you're a dickhead on the golf course. I just canceled out the I love you, Matt, right?
Exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
if I say
But erases
you're a
everything you
dick
said
on the
before.
golf course, Matt, but I love you. Now I just canceled out the negative thing.
Right.
And it seems like that change word is, to me, now that it was brought up to me yesterday at a class, it's like I'm kind of seeing it because we could use it as, is it a negative thing? However, I also think we could use it as a positive thing.
Well, think about attitude, right? Attitude is not one way or another. It's both.
Yeah.
Human beings aren't one way or another. It's not cut and dry. It's both. So most likely every word in the dictionary has a valuable, thriving definition, and it also has a lacking, limited definition. And again, it's how you look at it. The only thing that's going to be different, Al, in anything is how you look at it. It's your attitude about it. It's how you see it. It's how you perceive it. It's how you think about it. It's how you talk about it. It's, in fact, it's how you expect it to be. Think about money, dude. We've had millions of conversations about money. It
Yeah.
is one of the biggest microscopes on a person's life for all of us. You think about somebody you know that has an endless supply of money. They expect it. You think about somebody that's has a very lacking, negative supply about money. They expect it. What's the difference?
Yeah. It's true.
How they perceive
Yeah.
it,
It's the attitude of it.
what their attitude is about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, I mean, make no mistake, everything we've talking about today and the things I'm sharing is not a automatic next moment your whole world's going to be wonderful and I have the world by the tail, because that's not true. It is a consistent, constant effort to stay focused on what I prefer long enough and diligently enough to where it really starts to be my reality, to until it gets to the point to where that's just how it is. Because the truth be told, my previous attitude got me in the world of my life of whatever it might be, to the degree that it's so ingrained in me as that's just how it is, like your friend you just described. They're so ingrained in that everything that everywhere they look, that's just how it is. Well, you can do that on the other side too.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
just going to take you a little effort to consistently be true and loyal to your attitude, your choice, your preference. And
Jump, jump,
it really comes back to, are you focused on what you want or what you don't want?
yeah.
It's
Jump,
that simple.
jump into different ponds, right? You can jump in the pond that's all stagnant, stinks, covered with
Yeah.
flies and mosquitoes and gnats.
Pass.
Or you can get yourself out of that pond and jump in something a little cleaner, right?
It I'm so convinced that we're so powerful beyond measure that when we decide something, we are loyal to it and we own it, it is sure to be our experience and we are it. I don't know how many people you talk to, Al, about relationships, but it seemed to have been coming up in my life a lot lately. Some guys that are, they seem a little insecure, so to the degree that they absolutely have to have somebody in their life to fulfill them. Yet the ironic thing is they keep attracting the same person with a different face. There's one common factor in your life, Al. Do you know who it is?
You?
That would be you. That would be me, right? Or you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so here's the cool exercise. And this is what I told him. I'm like, look, dude, you need to literally sit down and write out the values you want in a partner or a wife or a lover or whatever you want to call it. Write out those values: kind, generous, supportive, loving, appreciative, focused, successful, whatever. Here's the trick: you got to be it. If you're not it, you will never attract it. You are attracting what you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're frustrated, unhappy, struggling, critical, you are going to attract somebody that's going to kick your ass and you're going to hate every minute of it. But you guys are going to be in love until the shit hits the fan
You
and you
know, and
guys show each other you.
I think that's where if you are in your own self, right, and you're really paying attention, I think that's where that separation comes back, right? Because I've met people before too where that attraction is like my hell. It's
Oh, it's intense.
1000%, right? It's
It's
magnetic.
wonderful. It's
And
wonderful.
you're going on and you're going on, and then all of a sudden you start feeling a pry bar coming in between you, and you start feeling this separation, right?
Start
And
showing you you.
there was a
That person
long
is mirroring you you.
yeah. And there was a long time there where I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And then I started really thinking where I was at in my mind, right? Now, and I'm not knocking this other person by all means, okay,
Right.
at all.
At all.
I just realized, and it took me a little bit of time, but I realized this is where I'm at. Not saying I'm above this other individual. I'm just saying this is where I'm at. That's why that separation is starting to happen, because I'm not attracting that, right? I have attracted the same women in my life over and over.
Because
I
that's where you are.
Because that's who, yeah. And I would sit and go, here I am in this freaking same cesspool again. I mean,
Wait
okay,
a
let
second.
me
I'm such an
rephrase that. I
amazing
don't want to
guy.
say cesspool. I don't want to say cesspool. That's rude. I'm just saying,
Well, but it fits.
well, here I am sitting in the same room again, right? I'm in the same place I was 10 years ago or 15 years ago. And I don't want to be there anymore. And I think that's why that separation was finally starting to happen, because I'm somewhere else in my life right now,
Right.
right? And
Well, you started to matter, Al.
yeah, yeah.
If you're okay with it, I'll just, you know how I am. I'm just direct and I'll just tell you what I think. If it fits, it fits. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You were in the state of where everybody else mattered and their emotions, their happiness, their well-being mattered more important to you than you mattering to you. You
Yes.
be slowly began to like yourself, slowly began to realize I'm enough all by myself, to where now you truly started to do this, and this is just frequencies. Your frequency started to do this, so any relationship you're in is going to get extremely difficult,
Hmm.
because when two people are on the same plane, it is magic. It is incredible.
You grow
And here's the
together.
here's the purpose. The purpose is to show you you. You start to mirror each other, and then you go 3 months later, you go, who the fuck is this? I I didn't realize that guy was such an asshole. Why
Right.
is that guy being such an asshole? He's just like my last boyfriend or my last husband. Well, guess what? The only reason that's happening is for you to show you you and for you to determine what you prefer. And as soon
Hmm.
as you take ownership about being enough, liking yourself, being kind to yourself, you notice I didn't use the word I love myself. Kind to myself, I like myself, I enjoy myself, I'm thankful for myself. You truly start to foster that energy and of I'm enough. Just by result, your confidence starts to go through the roof. I'm not talking about cockiness. Your confidence starts to expand. Your being okay, not you know that things are going to be just fine. You're good, you're blessed, you're protected, you're whatever. All those things starts to get fostered, and then you start to attract somebody that we everyone, it's on the movies, right?
Yeah.
You see somebody and everybody's in these glorious relationships that are thriving and everything is working. Well, the only way that happens is if you're already that.
Yep.
And now you're two people creating life together, sharing life together, because you're okay and you're good with who you are, how you are, and your focus is on what you prefer, not what you don't prefer, and you're not keeping score.
Yep. Amen. Amen. My gosh, Matt, this has been, it's hard to believe we've been over an hour, really. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew you and I would get in this conversation and it would take off, right? Because you and I have talked about similar stuff like this before. And yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we could sit down and spend a half a day talking
we
about
could
things
keep,
like
we could probably
this.
talk about this for hours more. There's so much
Absolutely.
more, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So to wrap things up,
I
what
want
would
to, I want to, I want to leave. I'll let you continue, but
okay.
before we go, I want to share something. I want to just instill an idea, and we'll end with that. But go ahead,
Well,
continue.
and this may fit, okay? I was gonna ask, what would you want our listeners to gain from this, and or what would be your main message? And I don't know if that's gonna fit with what you was just gonna share.
Well, it kind of will, but like I said earlier, I truly hope that if you get anything out of this, your state that you're in, which equals your attitude, your perception, how you think about something, how you hear things, how you speak, how you feel is going to determine what you experience. Just remember the story about my avoiding a car wreck because I changed from frustrated to thankful. That sums it up. And focus on what you want, not what you don't want. And if you're getting the results you don't want, you're still focused on what you don't want. And I kind of want to leave with this and just tap into this, feel this. I'm using the dictionary. This is one of my favorite words on the planet. And it's liquid. The word liquid. Here's what liquid means. And remember, we're human beings. So be liquid. Liquid, flowing freely like water. What would your life be like if it was flowing freely like water? Shiny and clear. Being musical and free of harshness in sound, meaning I speak with myself without criticism. Smooth and unconstrained in movement, free. Think of the word freedom and how powerful being free is. Articulated without friction and capable of being prolonged like a vowel. I'll let you sit with that for yourself. And here's the last piece of this: capable of converting to cash. That's the definition of liquid. So if you want to put yourself in the I am of liquid, I am flowing freely like water. I am shiny and clear. I am capable of speaking with myself without criticism. I speak of myself without criticism. I am smooth and unconstrained in my movements, and I am easily convertible to cash.
Mm,
I love that word
I
because
would
it's
have
power.
never, yeah, I could see why. I would have never thought that would have been the definition of it.
I'm telling you guys, download the dictionary on your phone. When you are investing energy and focus on yourself, your business, your improvement, and your scripting out your life or affirmations, use the dictionary, because one that we came up, this is kind of the last thing, so we'll wrap it up with about money. I was at an experience and one of the guys, his wife came out and gave him a cup of water from the cafe, and he started bitching and moaning because they charged him $1. And I literally looked at him and I'm like, I know the guy. I'm like, you cheap bastard. Are you kidding me? And it really stuck with me until the next morning at my mastermind. And the subject of money came up. And we really started thinking about this stuff. And we come up with an affirmation, which I'm going to share with you guys because it is powerful. And we really began to explore words. And how often do you, Al, use the word spend? I went to the store and I spent $100. Often, right?
Uh, uh,
Or whatever.
I really don't know. I don't know how often I use it.
So maybe it's just an attitude. Well, let me just enlighten you for a second. The word spend means to deplete. Probably not the best choice of words.
Correct.
So we started really thinking about it. So money is like your blood. It just flows. It's flowing. If your blood stops flowing, you're in trouble. You're going to die. If money stops flowing, you're in trouble. True or false? You and I have been there. We get it.
True. Yeah.
So from that perspective of money and things, when we're out and about purchasing things, buying things, truly what we're doing is we're investing money, energy, focus, but money in people, products, and services. So go back to the guy at the bowling alley. If he did not invest $1 in the person in the cafe pouring the water, the owner that owned the cafe to provide all the stuff, he wouldn't have that water. So our refocus around all of this is when we're talking about purchasing things, the affirmation, here it is. I am investing money in people, products, and services consistently that return to me tenfold. Thank you. And if you're in the investment world, you know that on average, when somebody invests in something, the annual average return is 10%. So everybody already agrees on that point.
Yeah. Well put. Thank you for
So
educating us with that. Yeah.
it's it's a different way to look at things, because I used to go, oh, I went to the grocery store, or I had to go buy this. It cost me $50. I spent $50. Both of those words, cost and spend, are not good.
Yeah.
Those are on the side of a lacking attitude. But investing and appreciating the pure fact that you can purchase those things are on the thriving attitude side of life.
Yep. Amen.
Thanks for having me
100%.
out.
Hey, Matt, thank you for being on the show, man. I really do appreciate it. I knew this was going to be a kick-ass show, and in my eyes, it was. There's a lot of, I mean, it's proof, right? This isn't BS that we've been talking about today. It's proven fact, and there's enough of us that's been working on our life to know that it works. It really does work, and our attitude, and I mean, you even caught me in something, right? Instead of having to, I get to, right? And I've had to change my attitude even with the work that I do. I want to get out of the work that I do because I just want to get out of it. Being my age, it gets harder and harder to do what I'm doing. And I'm not afraid of the hard work. However, I had to change my attitude about 6, 7 months ago of going, I really don't want to be here, to where I get to be here today because it's paying my bills.
Or you enjoy it.
And yeah, and just going, I'm gonna take everything in because I know where I'm heading, right? And I'm just going, this is my journey for right now, and I'm okay with it because I know where it's gonna end, So
Well,
yeah.
I guess to summarize the whole show today and maybe answer your question is, at any given moment, you either have an attitude that you're winning or you're losing, and you get to pick.
Yep. Amen. I'm winning. We're both are. We're both
Until we do this again, my brother. Thank
yeah.
you.
Well, guys, thank you again. Thank you to all our past guests. Really do appreciate you guys. Thank you to all our listeners. This wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you guys. I mean, we're coming up here on 3 months here real soon, in about another week and a half, or not 3 months, 3 years that this show has been going, and I'm just in awe and just so grateful. And gosh, we're getting close to 300 episodes. We're not too far away, about 45 episodes away. So I'm really excited about that. Guys, if you heard something on this show that resonates with you, or somebody that you know that is struggling, please share this show with them. Send them to YouTube, ask them to subscribe and like. You'll see it on Facebook. We are on all the other platforms. However, we're behind on the other platforms due to issues of losing the studio last March. However, we will be back on where all the shows are there. So just be patient. We'll get there. And again, thank you guys for everything that you do. And remember this, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.